Thursday saw a new roadmap for The Sims 4, a neighborhood peek at the Enchanted by Nature world, and still no update for console at the time I'm recording this. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. Here's a list of the topics I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to go over the Sims 4 roadmap, including the timeline and the blog post. We're going to take a peek at that Enchanted by Nature neighborhoods. We're going to go over the Something is Going review that we got before the roadmap, question mark about some new base game features, another new bug, and a possible workaround. Also an overview of the bugs I'd covered previous with some mod fixes for some of them, and still no update for console, as I said at the time I'm recording this. I will have timestamps for everything in the description. So The Sims shared this on various social media, including Facebook, Twitter, their Discord, YouTube, Instagram, though the format I'm taking is from Facebook. It was either portrait or a landscape, and we're looking at the landscape version of it. So it starts with The Sims 4, and then we go in and we see that Enchanted by Nature expansion pack reveal on June 12th. Then it moved into June 24th, which is a Tuesday, Nature's Calling event. And then the next thing was June 26th, which is a Thursday, Enchanted by Nature gameplay trailer. And then it moves along to July 1st, where we're getting a free base game update. And after that, we're getting the release of the pack on July 10th. So Enchanted by Nature expansion pack launch. And then one more thing, free base game update on August 19th. So interestingly, no kits noted on this roadmap. And also not noted here is a developer live stream for the new expansion pack. My guess is that it's quite likely to be after the base game update and before the pack releases, because that seems to be somewhat consistent with when they often have them, but I guess time will tell. And again, they're having, I'm saying often recently, because we've been getting those base game updates 9 days before the pack releases, as opposed to how they used to do it, where it was 2 days before the pack releases, which I quite like that tendency that they're doing that. So here is the actual blog post, which was just an extension of the original Sims roadmap, which we'll just briefly touch on after we go over this. So it says, from May through August, as we get into The Sims 4, players can expect a plethora of content that embraces the magic of nature and the outdoors. Snuggle up under the stars and sprinkle some of your mystical fairy dust to reveal what's next. And then it goes on to say, save the dates. Watch for the twinkles in the forest on June 12th for the reveal of the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack. So that is a Thursday. And a more in-depth look at this whimsical world with a new gameplay trailer on June 26th, also Thursday. And embrace the call of the natural world with the pack releasing on July 10th, also a Thursday. All of those are Thursdays. Venture into the great outdoors with the Nature's Calling event, which they linked to a blog post. I covered that in my previous video on the game update, the May 27th game update, coming to the base game on June 24th. This is a Tuesday. Stay tuned for more information on this limited time event where you'll hone your Sims handiness skill to discover a long hidden secret of nature. Kind of curious what that is, unless it's just one of the rewards that they're kind of showing. Bask in rays of sunlight draped in greenery descending from above with a base game update coming on July 1st, which is a Tuesday. Additionally, new skin customization options will be available in another base game update on August 19th. Keep an eye out for more information that will be shared in the days ahead. I'm not sure if that's the near days ahead or a little bit further out. So 2 base game updates, and as I said, no kits noted here, though I feel like sometimes creator kits aren't on here, though they were, but not always. So I'm not sure if there's a chance we could get some, or if it's just really going to be focusing on the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack and those couple of base game updates. Now, as I said, this is on the existing roadmap page, which was from The Sims for Sim Your Summer. We've already had the Sims live stream where they had actually announced the gameplay reveal trailer there with the little fairy house, what looked like a fairy house. Of course, we got that roadmap. Now there's two things on here for the Sims free play. June 10th was Make a Splash, and July 22nd is Get Out of Town. So those look like they're updates for that game. And in June, the date's not known yet, we have the Sim Shop Summer Drop. And then in July, again, the date's not known yet that I have seen, the Sims board game comes out. Now, I did see, I believe, an article by the Sims community. I definitely saw some tweets, and I did see that the English Simmer had a video about it, which I haven't had a chance to watch, but I'll try and link to the video down below. And if there is an article from the Sims community, I'll link to that too. So this is from Moonshine Sim, and it has this picture, and then if you zoom in on the text, they say that they received the above image with the EA press release about the new roadmap for June to August, though I don't actually see this on the roadmap, about the upcoming event Nature's Calling, a gameplay trailer, and several updates. It gives us an official look at the world Innisgreen from the new expansion pack, The Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature. Now, this is the only place I've seen this, personally, but so then it goes on to say, Innisgreen consists of 3 districts, a quiet town by the water where it's all about gnomes, a forest where nature and civilization merge, and an enchanting magical forest. And then they have some links to other articles. Now this, I use Google Translation. It isn't actually in English originally, but I'm showing that. I will link to it down below so you'll see the original source and you can translate it yourself if you wish. So here's SimMatically tweeting, here's a better quality of that picture, which essentially is just from that blog post. And then we zoom in to see the 3 neighborhoods. So we have the quiet town by the water where it's all about gnomes on the left hand side. Then I'm guessing in the middle is the forest where nature and civilization merge, and then the right possibly is the enchanting magical forest. I'm not really sure, but what seemed a little interesting from these pictures, on the left hand side you have the big gnome, and I've seen some things that it's, you can do magic on it. It kind of looks like they're doing something. But if you look at the roof there, it looks like there's like a flat part in the middle. And I saw some people commenting that they didn't think that was possible to do in the game right now. And I do adjust roofs and stuff, but I can't say that I've ever done that particular one. I don't know if you could possibly do it with, the curvatures and then flatten it down, but that's all I've seen. So either that's something new or it's just that they're better at manipulating the roof than I am, and I guess the other people who wondered if it was new, or maybe it's just a new roof type, or it's a new way of manipulating roofs. That's the question. In the middle there, you see what looks like fairies, and they do look like they're regular size. Some people were concerned they were just going to be NPCs and not playable, but it's giving me vibes that they're going to be playable. And then you also see in the right-hand picture a Sim sleeping on the ground, and I think that seems like it's possibly going to be something that any Sim can do, though it might be something you learn as you unlock, as you learn some new skills or new things with it, but I don't know. I was a little concerned when I saw that might be limited to fairies, because with the werewolf packs, there's a perk that werewolves can sleep on the ground, but I guess time will tell. Now, taking a step back, we did get this teaser from The Sims starting on the weekend. Something is growing. You could take a peek inside, get lost in Innisgreen, and then I've zoomed in. You peek through the leaves and see a quaint town. The sign reads Innisgreen, a beautifully lush world where Sims live in harmony with nature. You discover there are 3 neighborhoods to explore. A quiet waterfront town where they're all about gnomes, a grove where nature and civilization blend together, and an enchanting magical forest. What else awaits you there? So this, fun fact, is a miniature that they then added some special effects and whatnot afterwards. That was confirmed by an EA representative. There was some speculation that it was AI, and it is not indeed AI. So then we move on, get lost in natural living. So you wake up under the stars and see other Sims meeting their needs outdoors without beds or plumbing. You're hungry, but you spot some delicious looking mushrooms by a tree. Looks like you'll sustain yourself just fine. Then we go on to get lost in 3 new traits. There's 3 new traits will play a role in how Sims relate to their world. You befriend fellow plant lovers, have enlightening encounters with mystical Sims, and even have run-ins with disruptive Sims. Now, oh no, now everything's out of balance. And then we go on to get lost in ailments. You've been feeling a little funny. An ailment with strange effects has befallen you. You learn you have to work hard to put the cure together, but it's not all bad. It turns out honing the apothecary skill is fun, and who knows, it might even lead you to a new career path. Then we move on to get lost in enchantment, which was the final day. You awaken at dawn to the sound of high-pitched laughter, somehow both sweet and sinister. All of a sudden, you're met with a magical presence. You're a little afraid at first, but you learn to embrace all the wonder and mischief these creatures' abilities can bring. Nurturing plants, influencing emotions, and a whole lot more you're still yet to discover. Eyes bleary with sleep, you look around at your strange and wonderful surroundings, living at one with nature and enchanting new friends and even a new career. You have a feeling you'll be right at home here. And so your new life begins. So that's kind of what I've seen so far on the new pack. That said, there is this new item here that was found in the May 27th update by Low Poly Pancakes, who does mods. So they were wondering if anyone had seen anything in game about the feature called Dreams. It's not part of Wants, Fears, or Whims, and it was added in the latest patch. Now there's nothing actually physically in the game yet for that, but it's in the code. And Lunar Brittany replied, it's a new thing in the experiments module. They're guessing they're testing another thing because there's tons of N5 thingings. So whether that's something coming like soon or in the future unknown date, we don't know. So I expect he came up with this tweet here, which shows some pictures, and you have select a dream, and then there's 2 there, and it shows the family farm dream, and they essentially kind of look like discovery quests, but in a different way. And then this one is a different selected dream, and it's like choose successful sim dream or choose generation dream, and the successful sim dream is these things. And I don't know if it continues on or if that's that, but he did go on to follow saying that, you get thousands of simoleons at every objective being rewarded. Essentially, he seems to be kind of like maybe, or he's considering it like a new type of tutorial. Now, with the example that he's giving here, it doesn't actually seem like tons of simoleons because you have to buy something worth 1,000, so you're going to get replaced with that 2,500. And, having an infant, toddler, or child reach the next life stage, if you adopt a baby or do a science baby to have the child in the first place, that's also 1,000. So you're getting money, but it's not like it's excessive compared to what you might have to pay to get through it. And yeah, it does feel kind of like it's tutorial based. I think time will tell whether it works properly or whether, maybe there were other examples that they didn't share that were bigger simoleon amounts, but I assume it'll be optional like the discovery quests are, and so if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. So I don't know if that's going to be added like with the pre-pack update or if it's just there for sometime in the future. You'd think if it was there in this much detail that a modder can find that it's coming sooner rather than later, or that's kind of my thought on it. The other thing I saw lots of speculation, but one thing that people were speculating that I don't have anything here was that with some of the hints and whatnot in that preview that, gardening might get an overhaul. And we have already had an overhaul to gardening with the pre-seasons update. It changed it quite drastically. It changed the evolution. It just did a bunch of different changes so that now you only harvest it. You have to be in the neighborhood before 5 a.m. to get the harvestables to spawn and harvest it, anytime afterwards. But you have to be there before and after or right at 5 a.m. and a little bit past to actually be able to harvest it. It didn't used to be like that. And they changed the value of harvestables. and they changed how you evolve. It was easier after the update, and just, various things. But of course, gardening is also buggy. So if they are doing some type of overhaul to gardening, hopefully they fix those issues and don't create new ones. But those are like, who knows what else could be coming with the update. But those are like the two things. This one here maybe is coming with that. And then speculation about, gardening getting another overhaul. So now we're going to the bug reports, which I had covered a lot of these in my separate video on bug reports. So these items here were mostly in there, but there's one new one. Holiday menu needs to be reopened for each sim. It's just sort of when you flip between your sims, you have to like check the holiday, and this is obviously seasons, to be able to see the goals. And I can see that being a nuisance. I often play with the making money scenario or some type of scenario, and I find I have to do that anyways because it just defaults to that as the first thing. But now it defaults to be closed with it. So that's that. Now for this, the can't make New Year's resolution and the one at the bottom, the Scout Badge Progress UI missing text, and that's all it is. You can still complete the Scouts. But they both have bug fixes by Kuto. So if you use mods, bug fix mods, I should say, then you could grab that from his bug fix page. I'll link to everything down below. Anyways, and then the next thing we have, this is just, I grabbed this as a summary thing, so you can see the counts of these. So the ones on this page in red are new since the update. I had mentioned the Cha-Cha mostly tall sliding door in my previous video. Fun fact with this, Lunar Brittany said that his mod that currently unlocks the next event items also unlocks the missing door. So I'm kind of wondering if they'll come back with the event as opposed to being permanently gone. Fingers crossed, since his mod that unlocks the event early fixes the issue, that's going to be the case. And the other thing here, the second one that's in red, is the new bug that I was gonna, discuss in more detail, and that Sims are aging up with weird, creepy looking limbs. And this is affecting infants through teens, not above. But that's probably because their frame changes, and there's some speculation that actually could also be tied to the bug where they'll revert back to previous outfits when you travel if you haven't saved, which was on the first page. And then this final one I had covered in my previous video where you can't swipe anything if you have a mischief skill of 10, which would impact greatly on the sticky fingers aspiration. So here's a close-up look at this new bug that I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail. Sims are aging up and they're getting weird, creepy looking limbs, and there are some examples. And again, this is infants through teens. Initially they weren't sure it affected teens, but it does indeed affect teens. There is an existing bug report from previously where werewolf Sims faces were distorting, and that's not for this. This is a separate bug. And as I said, there's some speculation that this is because also what's happening is that their little portrait will revert back either to be blank or to the previous stage. And I think then this is what happens. Here's some other examples of the stretchy, creepy things. Now, there is a suggested workaround here from EAK. They're saying they're investigating the issue, but they wanted to shout out that they'd seen some players report that saving, exiting, then reloading the save has resolved the issue when it occurs. And also some players report that simply saving and traveling has worked as well. But one person, the person who did the original report, said that temporarily fixed it, but the second they follow someone off the lot and come back, the issue returns. For them, they specifically were noticing they were in the scientist career. So they weren't traveling with the whole household. They were just traveling with the scientist to work. So they think the same thing would be applicable for any active careers. I kind of wonder if you saved right after they aged up, if that would fix it, but maybe it doesn't in the case of an active career, but that's kind of that. So now the other final thing is at the time that I'm recording this, console still hasn't got the update. So the note on the 27th was the PlayStation and Xbox versions of the May 27th update ran into an issue during final testing and will be delayed. So they're working hard to get this update to console simmers as quickly as possible. And thank you for your patience. Now, From what I can gather, the issue is that if you play on PlayStation and Xbox, you can't download more recent things on the gallery. You probably can only download things that predate the update because there are issues with them because you don't have the most recent version of the game. But then again, you're avoiding some of these new bugs, and maybe one or more of those new bugs were what caused the problem, or perhaps it was something completely different. Maybe it didn't work well. I saw someone speculating that perhaps it didn't work well with that new overlay that we got with the update that you can disable, but so computer players have an overlay that gives you some controls. Maybe that was what it is, but we don't know. They haven't said. But as the time I'm recording this, the update is not out. Maybe if it is something here, maybe we'll get an update with some of these fixes sooner, especially since a couple of them have mods to fix it. Bug fix mods, I should say. But anyways, let me know what you thought about the roadmap, the announcement, anything I shared in the video. I'd love to know in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!